Okay, so after dozens and dozens and dozens of comments asking me to post success stories, Jay, post success stories, why don't you post success stories? Post a success story. I was hesitant to post success stories because I feel like they unfortunately trigger some people, but at the same time, they do motivate others. And I guess if you're the type that it triggers you, you can always obviously not watch. But I would suggest you change your perspective on success stories and see them as motivation. Because if others can do it, you can do it. You're no exception. So I will start posting more success stories, SP, money, health, physical appearance, whatever I come across or is sent to me. So this specific success story is from someone I had one-on-one with last year. And we had, I think, a week of continuous sessions. So ever since then, she has been on her own with the instructions, the tools, the content that is available to her, and she has been implementing. So I'm going to read the story that she sent me. She sent me the whole story on WhatsApp, and I'm just going to be reading it. If I see that, it's a little bit too long, I'm going to cut some things out. But all in all, I really highly suggest that you listen to the story because it's amazing. Alrighty, so grab some snacks, grab a drink, and let's get into it. Hey Jay, first of all, I want to say a big thank you. Even though I had always believed in manifestation, in that moment when I came to you, it was really tough to stay in that belief. But every time I felt down, I went back to that email after our first session and just picked myself up. That week of coaching allowed me to reach out to you whenever I was down, and I now realize you weren't letting me dwell on the story, but you were training me to change the story then and there, even though I was getting frustrated because you were not entertaining my rant sessions as your typical girlfriends would. LOL. Nope, not entertaining that. But now I truly get and appreciate it. Anyway, let me get started on my journey. As you know, around December of that year, my SP had ended things with me a week before I was supposed to move to him to a completely different country whilst we were long distance. This isn't about what he did was wrong, and I know ideally anyone would think, oh, he's an ass for doing that. But actually the version of him I wanted was not aligned with my state of mind. Because before that happened, I remember that I kept fearing and living as if that might happen. I remember creating negative scenarios in my head and asking my friends if everything was okay, as if something was wrong when there was nothing wrong. I kept thinking in my mind that he may be afraid to take the step with me, and etc. And then before you know it, boom, it happened on that date. I remember traveling to the UK with my mom a few weeks after that because it was too tough to go back to my normal life. I had given up my job, sold my car, and had told all my friends and family I was leaving. I guess embarrassed was the word. I remember watching videos on getting your SP, but it just didn't click. And then I found you sometime in March. We went through a week of coaching and you created a routine that was good for me. I still remember telling you, haha Jay, one day I'll be writing to you on how I'm getting married and send you an invite to our wedding. On track for that. One thing I struggled with for sure was patience. I remember being impatient and you always told me the same thing. Persist, persist, persist. It will happen in its own time. And I'll tell you this, I'm so glad it happened when it did and not then, because it all perfectly aligned in its right time. And he had to shift into becoming the version of himself that I wanted, even if it took 10 months to do so. This is what I always say, time is preparing everything. It's setting the foundation for you, to let you conform, to let your SP conform, and to let the circumstances fall into place. So even if it does take 10 months, it'll all be worth it if you just keep going. I kept telling myself I am happily married to SP, and I am the only woman he wants repetitively. He loves and adores me and stuck to a technique you gave me, which I absolutely love. I couldn't really visualize at the time, but I could hear his voice in my head saying, you're my priority, and I only love you, and I will do anything to be with you. I persisted with this. Not only did I persist in this, but I also took steps that would help me improve myself, such as exploring the city on my own, making new friends, and journaling, even if my state of mind wouldn't let me whilst repeating my new story. Then something happened. His dad got really ill and was admitted. During our no contact, I just checked in with him. This was 4 months later of no contact. We talked a little bit, however, I didn't get emotional. I was just normal with no expectations, and the convo was mainly about his dad. He responded saying he appreciated and went on to say he lost a lot in terms of his job and finances and was lost in life, and also apologized for what he did. I did not react and continued persisting, and I remember showing you these convos, and you told me to just keep persisting and not react to 3D. I mentioned I was going to visit that country, and he said, we will definitely meet up. Keyword, we will definitely meet up. Now, I do want to mention that my ego wanted to prove this point that I could get a job in that country, as this was also one of the fears he mentioned before our breakup. My cousins and family's friends had good establishments, and I thought, why not? But I also knew a part of me hoped that if we were in the same country, maybe something would happen, as much as I didn't want to admit this at the time. Come April, my dad and I visited that country to see our family and also find job opportunities for me, and I remember him messaging me constantly when we can meet, and flirting too. It was also his birthday and asked if I could join, but as much as I wanted to, remember to put myself first. Jay, I saw movement everywhere. The first place we went to for lunch, we ended up parking where he worked. We went out for dinner with family, and it ended up being his cousin's restaurant. It was weird. Anyway, I did get the opportunities quite easily. And I remember this was also what I was affirming for. But then it also didn't sit right with me, and instead I developed anxiety because I did not enjoy the city. I knew taking this opportunity would have been against what I wanted for myself, and it would have been for SP. I declined and refused the offers, but at least I knew that if I wanted to work there, I could. LOL, ego boost. And it doesn't matter because my SP will do anything to be with me regardless. I don't have to do anything, even if that meant he would have to cross oceans for me. During my last week, I agreed to meet up. But unfortunately, or fortunately, LOL, he ghosted me right after deciding that he was going to pick me up. After that, I remembered calling you, Jay, and you helped me get myself together, and I continued to persist. I remember posting a photo of my meal, to which he then casually messaged me like nothing happened. What did I do then? I ghosted back. I put myself first and thought, you know what? I'm done with this version. I don't deserve this, and I'll continue to persist and make peace with going back, and that's exactly what I did. Instead of saying, I went back to my hometown a week after that. May come around, I was back in my hometown and started affirming for my health and business opportunities together with SP on the side. Now here's the twist. His mom had mentioned to me during my journey back that SP is moving back to my hometown because he wanted a fresh start to be closer to his family. Now with all capital letters, Jay, this is the same guy who said he would never move back. Circumstances don't matter. She said that he's coming in October. I was shocked, but knew that this is happening and anything is possible. I really trained my mind to automatically assume that everything is working out, and every time I thought of him, I'd say to myself, I am happily married to SP, and of course, I'm his woman. I will say I had a bad habit of going on social media to check, and so I deactivated my account for a month or so to stop triggers and just focus on myself. Bravo. Around August, I was able to open up my own restaurant with a family member and therefore activated my socials so I could market the restaurant. I would see him seeing my stories. I had also lost some weight and glowed up. I also saw lots of movement where people from my past were showing up, and an ex from years back called me out of the blue saying they regret losing me and wants to marry me. LOL. But I stuck to what I wanted and stayed true to myself and persisted in being happily married to the SP that I wanted. And it was October 1st when he called me and apologized and said he was still in love with me. He regretted everything and was in tears and asked if he could be in my life in any capacity, even as a friend. It was emotional. We were both in tears. He even said he didn't have the guts to face me and was scared, and that's why he ghosted me when we were supposed to meet in that country, which is a perfect example of not everything that happens that seems negative, that seems bad and unfavorable, should be labeled as bad and unfavorable. If someone ghosts you, don't automatically assume the worst, like they're not interested, they'd hate me, they're talking to somebody else. See? Persist in something that would make sense for your desired story. Like, he didn't have the guts. He's preparing to, wow me, to be a better person, whatever makes sense to you. I responded saying, I love you, but I don't think it's healthy for us to be friends. I appreciate the call, but it's better not to try and be friends and end up hurting ourselves more. He said he wants more with me and he'll prove it. After that, we kept talking and he told me everything he went through, which was fears of marriage, and he wasn't in a good place, and ended up telling me that he couldn't be with anyone in those 10 months and he wasn't his best self. He was suffering from some bad habits and now he wants to change, wants a family, and wants to be better for me. What's funny was he wasn't supposed to come back in October, but November. But in my head, I would tell myself he's coming back in October, LOL. And he actually did come back to me in October. I love that. I love that. When he came back, we met and it was magical. And a month after that, we moved in together. And 4 months after that, which is April of this year, we moved to another city together for a good business opportunity. And hopefully, once we're settled in, he wants us to get married. So Jay, this is my story for you, and still on track to manifest more. But thank you so much, because everything I once imagined or heard him say in my techniques came true. And I will say it's not all rainbows and sunshine every day. And I still had my triggers, even when we did get back. But I learned to flip the script in every situation to maintain and attract more of what I want. Let me just say this from what I've learned. This is a lifestyle, and it is important to continue these practices even after you receive your manifestations and after persisting. Very, very important. We manifest constantly, even after we get our desires. It doesn't stop. Thank you so much, Jay. I honestly even affirmed healing for him and to be a healthy version of himself and to have his priorities in check, and say now he is a husband material, so loving, and his priorities are so different. He involves me in all his plans and so respectful and loving, and he is the best partner I could actually ask for. I am so grateful. He has really changed his life around. She gave up everything. She quit her job. She sold her car. She told all her family and friends that she is moving to that country to be with him, for him to end up just breaking it off. She could have just easily dwelled and spiraled and just let it all go for good, which would also be a valid response, which would also be a rightful thing to do if that is what you want, if you don't consider it to be worth your time and energy anymore. That is also perfectly acceptable and fine. But it's also perfectly acceptable and fine to be aware of these concepts and the power that you actually have to turn everything around in your favor, to align and unfold in the way that you want it to be. And so, yes, it can happen in a matter of days, and it can happen in a matter of months. But my thing is, when I always, talk to my one-on-ones and when I talk to you guys, I am not that type of content creator that will post videos, get a text in 24 hours, or get them back in 3 days, or manifest anything in 3 days. I will do a video on time crunch manifestations, which will probably be my next video. But my whole thing is, it will happen. It is inevitable for it to happen. You being with your SP is inevitable. It is so incredibly inevitable. Like, actually, literally inevitable. There are people who can decide, hey, I want this by tomorrow, and it happens tomorrow. There are people that can do that. I honestly wish I was that people, but I'm not. And that's also okay. That's also fine. I am me. I function with my own patterns, with my own beliefs, as we all do. And that is fine. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Take motivation from other people. Take motivation from other people's success stories. Don't take anything as a trigger, even if it does initially trigger you. Like we talked about in the previous video, respond. Don't react from the old, but respond from the new. Even if you read success stories, if you usually focus on what they affirmed, how many times they affirmed, how long they affirmed, or whatever technique or method they did, if that's usually what you focus on, shift your perspective and focus on the fact that they persisted. They were consistent and disciplined and determined. They showed up for themselves every single day, no matter what they were feeling, no matter what they were going through, no matter the circumstances. They showed up for themselves. Movement or no movement, signs or no signs, you should not depend on signs or movement to make you keep going. If you want something, then just do it. You having the desire, you having your SP, wanting to be with that person, your desire is your sign. If you have the desire, that is your sign to keep going. It is so simple. Not always easy, but so simple. And you are not the exception. Your SP is not the exception. I see so many comments, unfortunately, even after all the videos, that I do and that are available online, people still comment, but this is my situation, this is my circumstance, da-da-da-da-da. What should I do? Well, circumstance doesn't change the approach. You as a person and your mindset, the structure behind you depends, is what the approach depends on, because not everybody is the same. But as far as the concept of manifesting, it's all the same. You're not the exception. Again, the circumstance is not the exception and your SP is not the exception. Your desire is not the exception. Don't worry about believing it. Don't worry about feeling high vibe all the time. That has nothing to do with manifesting. And people who keep telling you like, oh, would you be stressed if you were together? Would you be stressed if you were with your SP? Would you be affirming if you were with your SP? I'm sorry, but you know what? I already talked about that in other videos. Your life, your rules, your approach. Oh my God, this is too long. All right, let me stop yapping. Circumstances don't matter. You're not the exception. Nobody is the exception. So show up for yourself and keep going. You got this.